Aloha and welcome to our beautiful island of Maui. Whether visiting for our tropical scenery, spectacular landscapes, Hawaiian culture, or just plain fun, Maui has it all. For the next 60 minutes, allow me to share with you some of the beauty that makes Maui such a unique and special place. My name is Diana. Hope you enjoy your visit to our island paradise. Let's begin our journey around our island with the drive of Maui's famous Hana Highway. And so we won't miss a thing, we'll first pick up the Hana Cassette Guide, the cassette tour of the Hana Coast. As we leave Kahului, our first stop will be Ho'okipa. This world-famous beach is where you'll find the windsurfers. It's our steady trade winds that make this location one of the most popular windsurfing spots in the world. Shortly into our drive, we'll see one of the things that makes this drive so popular. It's all the waterfalls. This is the windward side of the island where daily trade showers give us our waterfalls and resulting tropical rainforests. The early sugar growers saw the potential of all this water, and in 1878 completed a ditch system that took water from this wet side of the island out to dry central Maui to irrigate the newly planted sugar fields. All the cement structures and ditches you see out here are part of that ditch system. Honomanu means bird valley, and until the arrival of Western man, the valley opening up to this bay was loaded with birds. During the winter, the waves coming into this bay can reach 20 feet high, and then it's a popular surf spot for the local surfers who live out here. It's been the continual rains over time that have eroded this side of Maui and produced this rugged and lush Hana Coast. The K&I Arboretum is the best place on the island to see our tropical plants and flowers in their natural habitat. Bamboo is a common plant you'll see along the Hana Coast. It was first brought here by the early Polynesians as construction material and to carry water in. By the 1870s, eucalyptus was being planted on Maui to start a lumber industry for fuel and construction. But petroleum would soon be discovered in Pennsylvania, and it was determined lumber was cheaper to ship here, so Maui's lumber industry never got started. Rainbow is the most colorful of the many varieties of eucalyptus. Many of the colorful plants and flowers growing along the Hana Highway were planted by road workers who finished paving the road in 1962. K&I means the mullet fish. Though fish was an important food source for the early Hawaiians, their diet was made up mostly of fruits and vegetables. A giant tidal wave hit this side of the island in 1946. Every building on this peninsula was destroyed except for the K&I Congregational Church. The church was built in 1856 and only its roof has been replaced. Looking down on Keanai, you can see that it's covered with taro fields. How can water and soil-loving taro be grown in lava rock, you may ask? An ancient chief had his people bring soil down to the peninsula in buckets from the Tao Valley above. Working continually, it took a year for thousands of the residents to cover the lava fields with enough soil to grow taro in. Down the coast is another peninsula named Wailua. It's much older than Keanai, and its erosion over time has produced its own soil, producing the most extensive taro fields on the island. St. Gabriel's Mission and Our Lady of Fatima Shrine can be seen below. The St. Gabriel's Mission is the replacement for the original, smaller church that the early parishioners built. The original church, now called Our Lady of Fatima Shrine, is behind the St. Gabriel's Mission. It used to have a different name. When construction first begun in the late 1850s, limestone was needed for the cement that was used in its construction, and the only form of limestone out here was the coral growing in the ocean. It was very difficult and dangerous bringing up this needed coral. One night a giant storm hit this side of the island, and in the morning large amounts of the needed coral were found all along the beach, having been washed ashore during the storm. When the church was completed, another large storm hit, taking out to sea the unused coral laying along the shore. From these two events, the original parishioners named this church the Coral Miracle Church. Vai is water in Hawaiian, and it is the most important resource for the early Hawaiians. It was needed to irrigate the taro fields and other cultivated crops. It was the lifeblood of the land. Water's importance can be seen in all the Hawaiian place names that have the word Vai in them. Pa'iloa at the Wainapanapa State Park is where we'll find a black sand beach. Unlike some black sand beaches that are produced when molten lava explodes upon entering the sea, the black sand here comes from the erosion of the black lava sea cliffs. This continual erosion will produce black sand for a long time to come. Atop the hill overlooking the small town of Hana is Fagan's Cross, erected by the people of Hana in memory of Paul Fagan, who brought economic survival to Hana. Up until the mid-1940s, all this land was covered with sugar cane. Sugar production flourished in the ideal climate here. But in 1946, labor costs became so high that the sugar companies out here had to close. Paul Fagan, a Hana sugar grower, saw the demise of sugar production in Hana coming and offered an alternative industry for the Hana people. In 1944, he closed up his cattle ranch on the island of Molokai and had his Hereford cattle shipped here. His 14,000 Hana acres have become the Hana Ranch, the largest employer in Hana. Major communities on Maui have both a Catholic church and a Protestant church. St. Mary's is the Catholic church in Hana. In the late 1920s, St. Mary's was remodeled, giving it its relatively modern appearance. Across the street from St. Mary's is the Wananalua Church, Hana's Protestant church. Originally built in 1838, it was restored in 1989. Just beyond these arches at Koki Beach Park are the first fish ponds built in Hawaii. The early Hawaiians built stone enclosures called fish ponds along the shore to raise and cultivate fish in. Doing so gave them a continual and easy source of protein. Writer Robert Louis Stevenson considered Hamoa Beach the most beautiful beach he had ever seen in his travels at the South Pacific. Today it is used by the guests of the Hotel Hana Maui. Wailua Falls is the most dramatic falls you'll find along the Hana Highway. If you saw the movie, you may recognize it from Mutiny on the Bounty. Ohale Gulch is within Haleakala National Park at Kipahulu, and these pools were once referred to as the 7 Sacred Pools. It got this name from a delightful Hana woman named Josephine Medeiros, who worked in guest services at the Hotel Hana Maui. The hotel first opened in 1946, and to enchant the hotel guests, she made up the legend of the 7 Sacred Pools. Her legend told about reaching higher beauty and perfection of the soul on the journey to heaven as one climbed to higher and higher pools up the string of pools of Ohale Gulch. Her legend spread, and soon the people of Maui began to refer to this area as the 7 Sacred Pools. Her legend has some basis in fact in that early Hawaiians referred to this area as Nawai Nahiku, meaning the 7 waters. A trail above the park leads to 200-foot-high Makahiku Falls, and if you follow the trail and stream all the way back, you'll come to its end at 400-foot-high Waimoku Falls. At one time, there were 6 separate sugar plantations along the Hana Coast. This one in Kipahulu closed in 1922. The Palapala Ho'omau Church is Kipahulu's first Protestant church. It was completed in 1857. The church is the final resting place of aviator Charles Lindbergh, a Kipahulu resident. Beyond Kipahulu, we approach the southern part of the island, leaving the wetter east coast of Maui. At one time, the population out here was considerably larger than it is today, but again, when sugar production ceased, the people moved elsewhere. The Protestant Hui Aloha Church in Kaupo was completed in 1859. Today it has once-a-month services conducted by the priest of Wananalua Church in Hana. This is all that remains of a Hawaiian school built at the church. The Kaupo store is the last business left in the once thriving Kaupo area. The original owner introduced much of the modern world to this side of the island through this store. He once shipped in and assembled piece by piece a new 1916 Model T Ford. Completed in 1861, St. Joseph Catholic Church in Kaupo once laid abandoned. The slow process of restoration has recently begun. We've completed our visit to this side of the island. Now let's take a look at Kahului, the commercial center of Maui. Outside of Kahului is H.A. Baldwin Beach Park. Its beige-colored reef sand is produced from wave erosion of the ocean coral growing offshore. This process is how all light-colored sand is produced around islands. Closer to Kahului is Kanaha Beach Park, popular for canoe paddlers and windsurfers. It was by outrigger canoe that the early Polynesians migrated to Hawaii from the Marquesas and Society Islands, navigating by the stars and waves. Located in Kahului is the Kanaha Pond State Wildlife Sanctuary. From the public observation house, you can observe migratory birds. Virtually every bird flying across the Pacific lands here to rest and feed. Kahului Harbor is where cruise ships and ships carrying our needed supplies arrive on the island. This is also from where our sugar molasses is shipped to the mainland for refining. Sugar is Hawaii's #1 cash crop. Foot-long sections of the sugar cane are planted in rows where they are irrigated and cared for until fully grown, which is about 18 months. And it takes 1 ton of water to produce 1 pound of refined sugar. For central Maui, all this water comes through the ditch system we saw along the Hana Coast. After the growing green fields turn to aging yellow, the cane is harvested by burning the fields to the ground, then scooped into trucks and hauled to the sugar mill, where the sugar syrup is distilled off and trucked down to Kahului Harbor, destined for the sugar refinery north of San Francisco Harbor. Pineapple is our #2 cash crop in Hawaii. Crowns of the pineapple are planted in the ground, covered with black plastic sheeting to keep in the warmth and moisture, and in 18 months we have a fully mature fruit ready for picking. The leaves of the plant are as sharp as they look, and pineapple pickers must wear thick protective clothing that only somewhat protects them. The pineapple industry had its beginning on Maui in 1890, exporting 730,000 cases a year by 1920. Today's much smaller harvests are trucked to the pineapple cannery in Kahului, which is the only cannery left in the United States. North of Kahului is the town of Wailuku, the county seat of Maui. Standing at the entrance to Tao Valley and prominent in town is the New England-style Ka'ahumanu Church, completed in 1876. The church is named in the memory of Queen Ka'ahumanu, the favorite wife of Kamehameha, who united the Hawaiian Islands. Ka'ahumanu was the first significant Hawaiian royalty to embrace Christianity, introduced by Protestant missionaries in 1820. Dating from 1833, the Bailey House was established by early Protestant missionaries for the education of Hawaiians. The building is named after builder Edward Bailey, who would later design and build the Ka'ahumanu Church. The Maui Historical Society operates the house as a museum, and it is the best place on the island to learn of the early Hawaiians and those settlers that followed. The road into Iao Valley follows the Iao Stream. This stream is formed by the rain that falls within the valley. At times, so much rain falls within this valley that the highest point within it receives over 400 inches a year. Panivai Park is named for a famous battle that took place here in 1790, where Kamehameha and his men of the island of Hawaii defeated the warriors of Maui. The park is also called Heritage Gardens for the 6 major cultures that built and make up Hawaii. This Chinese house is dedicated to the first contract laborers brought to Maui from China in 1852. They and most of the laborers who followed were brought to Hawaii to work on the sugar plantations. The Japanese were the second nationality to be brought to Hawaii and the first Japanese arriving on Maui in 1868. They went on to become the largest ethnic group in Hawaii, using the political system to lead Hawaii into the modern era. The Filipinos were the last ethnic group of laborers arriving on Maui in 1909, and because they were the last to arrive, they were the first to be let go when the Depression's effect was felt in the 1930s. The Portuguese were hired by the sugar growers as skilled and semi-skilled laborers, and after completing their employment with the sugar growers, many of them started businesses of their trade. This New England house represents the early traders and missionaries that came from the New England area of the United States. These immigrants began arriving in the early 1820s, with a handful of them starting the sugar industry, which led to the importation of contract laborers. Arriving as early as 100 AD, the Polynesians were the first people to arrive in Hawaii. And until the arrival of Western man in the late 1700s, they cultivated and cared for the natural beauty that we have in Hawaii today. Taro was the major food source for the early Hawaiian. Its root bulb would be cooked and mashed to produce poi. Taro fields were built at the mouths of valleys where there would be a continual source of fresh water. Tao Valley has been the final resting place for the worthy chiefs of Hawaii. There are between 37 and 54 ali'i buried within this valley. Their location has never been known to anyone. The Iao Needle is the most prominent geological feature in the valley. Iao means cloud supreme. Though it looks like an isolated pinnacle, it is actually a hump on the crest of a winding ridge. The Hawaiian name for the needle is Kukaimoku. The view from atop Haleakala is spectacular, and at sunrise it is even more so. Haleakala broke the surface of the Pacific Ocean 900,000 years ago, and over time built upon itself with erupting lava until it reached a height of nearly 3,000 feet higher than it is today. Then, with its massive weight and gravity pulling on it, it slowly sank down into itself, forming a giant caldera. After a lengthy dormant period, volcanic activity resumed, producing the smaller cinder cones seen on the floor of the crater. The rim of Haleakala is 2.5 miles across and 7.5 miles long. Haleakala means House of the Sun. At 10,023 feet, Haleakala is the higher of the two volcanoes that make up the island of Maui. Clean air and minimal light pollution make the summit of Haleakala ideal for astronomy. There are currently 4 major telescopes within the facility, locally known as Science City. The first tracking telescope was installed in 1958. The latest is the futuristic-looking Advanced Electro-Optical Systems Telescope. It can examine a 4-inch object 180 miles up. A hina in Hawaiian, the rare silver sword, grows for over 25 years, flowers once, and then dies. Along the leeward slopes of Haleakala lies the fertile region known as Kula. It is here at the 3,000 to 4,000 foot elevation that Maui's small vegetable and flower growers are located. Commercial farming had its beginning up here in the early 1840s, supplying white potatoes to the New England whalers. And farming really took off at the start of the California Gold Rush in 1849, supplying potatoes, onions, and other vegetables to the gold mining industry. It's the cool weather and regular cloud cover that provides ideal growing conditions here. Many of the kula flowers are shipped to the mainland, while others are made into leis. Introduced to Maui in the 1960s, protea has recently become a popular cultivated flower in Kula. Native to Australia and South Africa, the flower is named after the Greek sea god Proteus. Completed in 1894, the Church of the Holy Ghost is the only octagonal building in Hawaii. It was originally paid for by the sale of cattle donated by Portuguese ranchers. Its hand-carved altar and Stations of the Cross are works of art. It was restored in 1992. area along the leeward slopes of Haleakala is Ulupalakua. It has only one store. These whimsical carvings are by the late Maui sculpturer Mitchell Reams. Also here is Tedeschi Winery, the only winery in Hawaii. Ulupalakua Ranch was once the largest ranch on Maui at 80,000 acres, running more than 5,000 head of cattle. That's the Pu'u'olai cinder cone at Makena. And that's Molokini out there, popular with snorkelers. This is still ranch land up here, and Makawao is at its center, meaning by the forest. Makawao has developed a cowboy tradition since the first ranches were established. Cowboys, or Paniolo as they are known in Hawaiian, have played a significant role in Maui's history. They were needed shortly after the British Captain George Vancouver brought the first cattle to Hawaii in 1793. What would Paniolos be without a rodeo? The Makawao Rodeo is a traditional 4th of July event on Maui.
The flag is up. Barrel racers, get ready. Barrel racers, get ready. Here we go. Here on, here's Gary. Having a hard. Hustle, let him come run and steer. He got a long shot, he got him. Here we go. Come on, Wailuku. Get him. Uh-huh. They're gonna leg him over, flank him over, rock him over, knock him. Oh, baby, I love you. What will see what you're gonna do now? What happened? Who's calling? Okay, welcome to $1,850 up here in the middle riding. Come on, Leo. Tara, look at the right here. Here we go. Dudley Decoy coming out now. Look at Dudley.
Paddling canoe is the most popular native sport in Hawaii. It was by outrigger canoe that the first Polynesians reached the Hawaiian Islands as early as 100 AD. Their canoes were much larger than those used today, having to bring with them all their supplies and plants that would be needed to establish their new home. Maui's longest stretch of sandy beaches is along the Kihei coast. If sun and surf is what you're looking for, this is the place. So let's cruise the beaches on this side of the island as we make our way down to Makena, up to Ma'alaia, then out to Lahaina.
Many times we pass this way, together you and I, collecting moments during the day and making love at night. I hope these moments will endure and never leave our minds. I hope our love will stay secure for that treasure we will find. I'm cruising with you, cruising with you. I'm cruising with you, cruising with you. Cruising is a part of life that helps us get away. Cruising is a part of life, so I'm cruising every day. And when the stars come out at night, I hope that you are near. I'll sing the words and I'll sing them right, 'cause baby, it's so clear. I'm cruising with you, cruising with you. with you. Cruising with you. We'll take another trip together. Who will bring the wine? This is what love does to you when lovers intertwine. I'd fly around the world with you if I only had some wings. It's alright, 'cause I'm in love, and you're the one I'm dreaming of. You're my love, my everything, and this is why I sing. I'm cruising with you. Cruising with you. I'm cruising with you. Cruising with you. We'll take another trip together. Who will bring the wine? This is what love does to you when lovers intertwine. I'd fly around the world with you if I only had some wings. It's alright, 'cause I'm in love, and you're the one I'm dreaming of. You're my love, my everything, and this is why I sing. I'm cruising with you. Cruising with you. I'm cruising with you. Cruising with you. I'm cruising with you. Cruising.
With its numerous stores and eateries lining Front Street, Lahaina today is a popular destination for visitors looking for a treasured souvenir. For the early Hawaiians, Lahaina was a population center because of its balmy weather and a continual source of fresh water from the mountains above. It was also the capital of Hawaii until it was moved to Oahu in 1845. Lahaina Harbor today is the departure center for virtually every ocean recreation, from fishing boats to submarine rides. Lahaina Harbor's first commercial use began in 1819 when whaling ships started arriving in Hawaii, and Lahaina Harbor was their chosen port. Whaling ships unloaded their sailors for a break from the rigors of year-round whaling and took on needed fresh provisions. And being Maui's sole port, Lahaina Harbor was used by steamers unloading provisions for the sailors, as well as picking up and dropping off passengers for inter-island travel. The harbor became so busy that by the mid-1840s, Lahaina Harbor more than doubled the activity of the much larger Honolulu Harbor. This is the Carthaginian, a replica of the original whaling ship that frequented Lahaina Harbor. Today it's a floating museum and open to the public. This is all that remains of the fort that Queen Ka'ahumanu personally paid for that was used to protect the people of Lahaina from the occasional cannon fire of drunken sailors. And this is the prison that many an unruly sailor spent time in. Most conflict was over drunkenness and womanizing on the part of the whalers, two sins not condoned by the early Protestant missionaries. Completed in 1828, Waiola Church was the first stone church built in the Hawaiian Islands. It is the final resting place of many of Maui's early residents. Lahaina Luna is the oldest school west of the Rockies. The view from up here shows the Auau Channel between Maui and the island of Lanai. During the peak of the whaling season in the mid-1840s, more than 100 ships at one time could be seen anchored offshore. The Lahaina Jodo Mission has the largest Buddha outside of Japan. It was brought by the early Japanese contract laborers when they realized Maui and Hawaii would be their new home. Lahaina Harbor was where all the new sugar workers arrived on Maui. Ka'anapali is the world's first fully master-planned destination resort. It had its beginning in 1953 when the Pioneer Mill Sugar Company started studying the feasibility of turning its scrubland along the beaches at Ka'anapali into a resort area. And because many high school students were leaving Maui because of the lack of jobs, the county supported the company's effort. In 1957, a plan was developed and construction began. 8 years later, the first hotel opened. Ka'anapali today consists of luxury hotels, condominiums, a shopping center, a championship golf course, and is the center of numerous ocean activities. Driving north of Ka'anapali, you'll come to Napili and Kapalua Bays. The northernmost public beach on this side of the island is D.T. Fleming Beach, popular with the whole family. Mokuleia Bay is part of a conservation district and is the best place on the island to visit the undersea world. Many snorkel boats can be seen at times anchored in this bay. As we move further north along Maui's smaller volcano, Halemahina, we get out of the lee of the island and become exposed to the drying trade winds. Relatively isolated by a poor road, Kahakuloa remains one of the few Hawaiian communities in Hawaii, with many of its residents growing their own food, living off the land and the sea. Well, we're coming to the end of our visit. Hope you enjoyed yourself and maybe relived some memories. Hope you also saw and learned a little of what makes Maui such a unique and special place. We'll close with a few of our Maui sunsets. The ancient Hawaiians believed departing souls leaped into eternity toward the sunset. Today, fond memories are created and enriched by a brilliant sunset. Either way, they have an effect on us. So until your next visit to our island paradise of Maui, aloha.
Where dreams come true, e como mai, e loco kako. I love you so, Hawaii. Peaceful waters, tranquil sea, quiet village calling me, island sunset, a soft guitar, you are my shining star, Hawaii. Feel the rhythm of the island shore, surround me with love forevermore. Let the music carry you away. In my heart you'll stay. Hawaii, pathway to paradise, enchantment beneath the skies. Hawaii, oh how I love you so. Aloha no, Hawaii. Hawaii. this tranquil sea, quiet village calling me, island sunset, a soft guitar, you are my shining star, Hawaii. Of the island shore, surround me with love forevermore. Let the music carry you away. In my heart you'll stay. Hawaii, pathway to paradise, enchantment beneath the skies. Hawaii, oh how I love you so. Aloha no.